Good morning. Welcome to episode 81 of the Driller Newscast, a weekly update on the news and stories impacting the drilling and water industry. I'm your host, Brock Yordy, and this week in the news, we're going to talk about OSHA's proposed rule change to the designation of a walk-around representative while OSHA is doing an inspection. For our feature, we're going to sit down with Sam Connelly of Connelly Associates, the National Drilling Association president, talk about their great convention and what they got in plan for 2024. But before we jump into this great news and feature, let's talk some safety. For this week in safety, I just have to sit back and laugh a little bit because last week I suggested that you could have OSHA consultants come out and take a look at your job site at no cost and confidentially, or at your business, and be able to assess hazards together, look at your safety program, and have a full discussion about what's happening in your processes with no repercussions. And what did I get? I got text messages and emails that said, Brock, what the heck are you thinking? You don't invite the enemy to your job site. They show up when it's least expected, when they can nail you for that frayed extension cord or that acetylene tank that isn't chained up. It's a poor way for us to operate industry. And so I want to talk about the OSHA consultant program, which provides no cost and confidential occupational safety and health services to small and medium-sized businesses in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and several U.S. territories. This consultation program helps employers reduce the likelihood of workplace injuries and illnesses by working with them to identify and correct workplace hazards, provide advice for compliance with OSHA standards, and assist in establishing and improving safety and health programs. Establishing and improving. This is a safe place that we're getting into here. Obviously, priority is given to high hazard work sites. This program operates separate from OSHA enforcement efforts. However, employers must agree to correct any serious and imminent danger hazards identified in a timely manner. Although largely funded by OSHA, the OSC program is administered by local agencies or universities. These are the individuals training our safety professionals. So you want to get back to a place where we have common sense safety and they're doing things the right way. And you can say, hey, Brock, the book is actually only this big instead of this big. You guys are just doing this. No, we can help educate the educators on this. This is a great program. The OSC program is voluntary. Requests for an on-site consultation are always initiated by the employer. After an employer makes a request and the consultation visit is scheduled, the consultant travels to the worksite to evaluate potential hazards, work practices, and employer's safety and health program. At the end of the visit, the consultant discusses findings with the employer and recommends improvements. Obviously, all serious and imminent danger hazards that are identified must be corrected within a specific time period agreed upon by the consultant and the employer. But here's the big one, industry: no fines or penalties are assessed as a result of the visit. During this consultation, this is what they're going to do. The consultant's going to complete a workplace audit to identify hazards and assess the employer's safety and health program. How do they do that? They use the OSHA Form 33, which is based on these points: leadership, worker participation, hazard anticipation and detection, hazard prevention and control, planning and evaluation, administration and supervision, safety and health training. The consultant evaluates the employer's safety and health program, identifies program deficiencies, and suggests corrective measures and areas for improvement. And this week, I'm not going to stop safety and jump into the news, because I'm going to jump right into the news because it's another safety piece that we all need to be thinking about right now, which is a proposed rule change to the worker walk around rule representative designation process. This is the rule change. It's going back to the 2013 Obama era designations, and public comments end on October 30th, 2023. This is what OSHA is doing. OSHA is proposing to amend its representatives of employers and employees regulation to clarify that the representatives authorized by employees may be an employee of the employer or a third party, such as a third-party employee representative who can accompany the OSHA compliance officer. This is a big deal because now we can have our safety consultants, our representatives, somebody who speaks safety speak and understands what we're doing as we walk this compliance situation in there. Now, there's plenty as we get into unionized construction projects and whatnot, where this designation is and how it should be applied. But I want you to think about having the relevant knowledge that is important, along with the skills and experience with hazard conditions of the workplace, or the language skills that our safety consultants who have our back, or our safety professionals have. And this is very big piece for us as an industry right now, to think that we can have that individual. And, as a authorized OSHA trainer and worked as a safety professional, that's right, I hung up the gloves and got off the platform, and I went and walked job sites, and I looked at hazard recognition, unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, proposed how we could change our standard operating procedures to be safer. It was a good piece to have. And when that incident happened, be it an unsafe act or condition, and where it's going to, as we talked last week, it was great to be able to walk with that compliance officer, and as they took a photo, then stand in their shoes right after they moved and take the exact same photo, and be able to have that full discussion. And that's what we need to be able to have. Obviously, we need to keep our people safe. But this rule designation, go to the Federal Register right now, take a look at it, read it, and get your public comments in before the end of October. October 30th, this is done. Stay safe, industry. For this week's feature, we're going to feature an industry professional, Sam Connelly of Connelly and Associates out of the DC area, geotechnical, environmental, water well, geothermal driller, second generation. Also, the National Drilling Association president. And we're going to talk about the convention that just happened, the 51st, what's going on with the NDA, and why we should be involved with the National Drilling Association as much as we are with the NGWA and ICSPA and ADSC and all of the great associations out there. We're always better together. And that goes back to Dave Schulenberg's statement of we're always better together. But let's have a great discussion with Sam. And I'll tell you what, this convention that was in Lexington, great professional development, heavy on safety because our industry needs safety. We just covered it in the news. And then in the evenings after we were done, we all grabbed a beverage of choice, from water to something that maybe is 95% water, as we've covered. And we stood around these big campfires and we played bags and we talked about professional development and what's happening in our industry and how we can do better. And the camaraderie was amazing because in Lexington, we were all right there in our own spot, and many conventions we spread out, we go to dinner and we're gone. And then we meet back up in the hustle and bustle. And it was a great experience. I hope you enjoy the discussion I have with Sam as much as I had having it. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself and give some background on being in the industry.
No, sure. Sam Connelly. I'm a second generation driller. My father, Tom Connelly, started the Connelly and Associates back in 1991, and I think I started the second week it was in business with them. So spent a couple summers through high school working for them, and then went to college and came back and decided I wanted to work in the industry, and so been full time in the industry going on 30 plus years now. So we're a geotechnical, environmental, geothermal water well drilling firm in the Washington, D.C. area. We work Maryland, Virginia, and pretty much most of the mid-Atlantic states.
Excellent. So, and right now you are the president of the National Drilling Association. How long is that term?
It's a 2-year term. I just finishing up my first term, and we just got reelected. So I'll be serving another term starting in January for another 2 years.
Wow. So I just saw the NDA just opened a chapter in Toronto. How many chapters do you guys have, and how big is the NDA?
The NDA currently has about 210 members, company members. So the registration with the National Drilling Association can be as a company or as an individual or as a student or as an associate. There's multiple ways to register as a member. The company membership, if you sign up as a company, that recognizes all employees of that company. So while we're at about 210 company and individual members, our total representation in the drilling industry, we estimate, we're still doing some surveys to get that number down, but we estimate to be around 5,000.
Excellent. Now, the NDA's major focus is geotechnical and environmental. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So the NDA was started in 1972 was an association of companies in the Pittsburgh area with a desire to group together and have a networking and representation in the industry for geotechnical drilling. I think the geotechnical drilling industry, being in it for as long as I have and throughout the United States, is a bit, I would say, fractured. It's different, obviously different regulations state to state, different geologies, different ways of drilling. So there's quite a bit to learn in coming together as an association.
It is very unique. If we look at, there's only about 23 million private water wells out there. So when we look at like water well drilling companies in general versus an industrial drilling company that is getting into, environmental or geotechnical or geothermal, there's a lot of work out there. And if we look at these Gen X chemicals and PFAS or the federal infrastructure bill, I'm sure there has to be tenfold, environmental geotechnical rigs in the field right now versus water well rigs. It is a very big industry. But we are spread out and kind of doing our own thing.
Yeah, it's a fairly diverse industry in that the geotechnical drilling market, on the geotechnical side, geotechnical drilling market can be represented by geotechnical engineering firms as an extension of their professional services, and then you have private geotechnical drilling contractors, and then people like myself who do both geotechnical and environmental drilling, and then you have just environmental drilling contractors. So the benefits of the industries right now on the geotechnical side, I think, is definitely the infrastructure bill, so that were passed last year, this year, and that the growth of the geotechnical drilling industry just over the past, I think, 6 or 7 years has probably doubled in size. Some companies that are really growing, lots of opportunities in the trade. I think my dad told me when I was younger that if you become a driller, you will always have a job, and that there will always be lots of opportunities in the drilling industry. And I think in the environmental market, with the advent of the PFAS legislation that's been passed and it's coming, and the phases that it's going to be implemented in over the next few years, that's going to be nationwide as well. I think the opportunity for growth in the industry is tremendous. for many companies.
It's going to be wild. And as we had Jason House on, the National Groundwater Association president, we ended up talking about PFAS there, and as him being a geologist and president of the NGWA right now, we have no idea when this final legislation comes through and the federal funding, and then we see, $10 billion towards 3M. You see $1.8 billion coming out of DuPont right now in these settlements, and what it will really take. We have focuses on geothermal and other industries right now, but this comes out, we're going to need more drillers than we've ever thought about in our entire, last 50 years of drilling, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret out there what the labor demand is, and it's everybody's largest challenge. I don't think you can talk to a single contractor, drilling manager, drill rig owner across any trade of drilling right now and then not tell you that labor's their biggest concern. Not just finding drill hands or labor, but finding skilled operators. And it's hard to kind of look at what's happened over the last 10 to 20 years in terms of where the market's gone. But I just point to I don't think this country has ever been as busy drilling as it is right now, and as it's going to be over the next 5 years. People say, well, generationally we've had a difficult stretch. Generationally, the next generation stepping in and doing the work. But I don't know if that's such much the case as it's just more work. And everybody trying to find more efficient ways to get it completed and move on. So it's a very exciting time. I mean, it's a very good place to be in when the demand is this high. All drillers want to be is they want to be busy, and they want to be working. They want to know that they're going to be able to work 5 days a week. And it's very scary times when things are slow. So it's a good time to be in the industry.
So what are your focus as president for your next term here with the NDA? What would you like to get done, accomplish, collaborate with?
So in the past 2 years, we currently have 8 chapters in the National Drilling Association, and my focus over the last 2 years has been strengthening our chapters. I think our reach from a national level to our member companies is really comes out in our chapter trainings and our chapter meetings. Currently, we have 8 chapters. As I said before, we have the Northeast chapter, which is based around Boston. We have the Tri-State chapter, which is in the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area. It goes out to Pittsburgh as well. We have the Mid-Atlantic chapter, which is based in Maryland. We have the Old Dominion chapter down in Virginia. We have the Southeast chapter, which is in North Carolina, South Carolina, and kind of based around Charlotte, Greensboro area. We have the Lone Star chapter down in Dallas, Texas, and then the Buckeye chapter for the state of Ohio, which meets frequently in around Columbus. So strengthening these chapters, getting some people on board for some strong leadership in those chapters, and adventing the training days. So our training days and our chapter level are a little more. It's like a break off from our national conference, except that we're actually training and putting tools in the ground. So we're actually training drilling techniques. So at the national conference, where we're doing full day of presentations, at a regional training site, we would be doing presentations in the morning. We have a lunch in the afternoon. We're outside, boots and hard hats on, and we're teaching a drilling technique or bringing in a service such as vacuum excavation or CPT, showing some kind of new technology. And this is a training that's attended by drill hands, drill foremen, company personnel that are in the field, and then getting continuing education points for that training directly to the geotechnical and environmental drillers. So it's we're very proud of that. And so I'd really like to, grow our chapters to a point where this past spring we had 4 training days. We had one in Lone Star, we had one in Mid-Atlantic, we had one in Tri-State, and we had one in the Northeast. So it'd like to be great to get to a point where all 8 of our chapters are putting on training days throughout the course of the year. I can also say, as you saw at the conference, that we do all of this through great vendor support. We have tremendous support from the drilling manufacturers, from auger drilling to sonic drilling, to air rotary drilling. We have great support from distributors, and in the drilling industry, people go from back and forth, and so there's a lot of experience there to draw on, and the networking and the camaraderie and support that we get from those people is just unbelievable. So when we go to hold one of these, it's not unusual to have great sponsorship and great interaction where drillers can actually be interacting directly with vendors on maybe they need a better core bit, maybe they need this, maybe they need that, and a lot of times that just doesn't. In the past, that wouldn't happen a lot, where a vendor can set up an exhibit and get to talk to 50 drillers in a day. So I think that's, we at the National Drilling Association, we really try to come into our events. The leadership, I've really talked to them a lot about. We always stay humble and always stay to a point where, we're always looking to learn something. We can learn something from every conference we go to. I personally, usually try to take a problem I'm having on a current drill site. We run 25 rigs across 4 or 5 states. So we're always, encountering something. And I almost always find support or an answer when I'm at a conference like that. And it's great. It's phenomenal. I at the national convention and then at the chapter training events, it's really great to see people come together and work hard to keep that, as you said earlier, keep that camaraderie in the industry.
25 rigs, 5 states. How do you find time to balance that? And as you were talking about your chapters, I know you were just in Toronto and you've expanded into Canada with a chapter. How do you find the time?
It's a challenge. I'm blessed with some great people in my company. My brother and my sister are my partners, and I have a great team of drilling managers, mechanics, welders, truck drivers, and great drillers. I mean, we really are blessed with some great people that keep the ball rolling every day when I'm out of town and traveling for the NDA. The chapter in Toronto, Ontario, I got to take a minute because I was up there this week for a meeting, and I'm really excited. That's a fast growing area. I mean, the construction is just unbelievable. What they're doing north and west of Toronto, and I met some fantastic people up there that with a lot of growing companies, a lot of growing concerns, same issues that we're having down here. They want their people to be safe. They want their people well trained, and they're looking to hire staff. And I think the National Drilling Association's role is, we can't go out and find people for every drilling contractor, but what we can do is we can help a company start to develop a career path for those new hires that come in that can look at it and say, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to learn this, I'm going to learn this, and I'm going to grow in this industry. And this isn't something that, I'm just going to stop and do for a little while. It can be a path to a well-paying career if those employees are feeling like they have the access to certifications and training. And the NDA offers online certification trainings. We offer drilling safety guides. We want to be there for our membership to give them the backup and the documentation that they need to help certify these individuals.
That's my final question. One of the most refreshing aspects of being at the NDA convention this year was a massive focus on safety in many different capacities, from the demonstration discussions talking about safety features to the classes with you know, major drilling safety expert and your keynote speaker, you know, focusing on safety and talking about a fatality. Uh, how did you guys develop a core of safety being the middle of this association?
That was really a concentration prior to my time. I will say that, you know, we became members of the National Drilling Association in 2004. My dad is a previous vice president of the National Drilling Association up until his retirement in 2013, and he went to an NDA event for the first time because our safety in our company had gone awry and wasn't the focus that it needed to be. And he didn't feel that he had the not just the knowledge, but how to implement that program, how can we do this better? And it's taken, you know, it takes years, and safety is not something you turn around one day and say, you know, we're now a safe company. You know, I think it's a constant work and progress. I think it's a something that, you know, it's top down from the top of the company down. It must be a priority. It must be talked about. It must be, you know, it must become part of the company's DNA. It's you know, you can sit there and have all the safety meetings that you want, but my opinion on safety is if somebody's going to be safe at work, they're going to be safe in everything they do. And when they get to that point, then, you know, they're operating that way. But it also, you know, safety goes into, you know, how your truck looks, how you carry yourself, how you how your rig's maintained. I mean, it's all of that. And it is so difficult in the drilling business, especially with everybody as busy as they are right now, to take the time to make sure that, you know, your equipment's running efficiently, that, you know, everybody is wearing their safety equipment. It is so difficult because we're so production oriented sometimes, and you can be safe and you can be productive. You just have to make sure that you're getting the right message out to your employees and your people and your association if you're, you know, leading something like that.
Well, excellent. Any last thoughts on recruitment, or how can we get some more students to the convention? You know, we teach. I teach with Tom Howe, the Hydro Field Camp at Western Michigan University. We have several, you know, drilling focused colleges across the country now. You know, Penn State, Cal State, Fullerton, Northern Illinois. We ought to get these students down there so they're around the drillers, around the engineers, and, you know, getting to see a rig before that first day of showing up with the yellow notebook on a job site.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. You know, we're going to be looking to, you know, get some more information out. Our next series of events will be in the spring when we start holding our training days. They generally held between end of March and Memorial Day. So we'll look to hold as many as we can in that time frame. Talking with the Ontario chapter the other night, we were targeting maybe the second week of June of putting something together. So, you know, getting this out to, you know, the local students in those areas or any that want to make a trip to go see one, I would highly recommend it. I think it's a great way, you know, those training days, you can see, you know, the rigs in action a little bit, and at the same time, be able to meet a lot of different people in the industry. We're excited, National Drilling Association. I mean, we are a drilling association. We're a group of drillers. That's what we are. And we are always looking for ways to better and professionalize the industry. You know, the lack of that, again, not to go back to it, but the lack of labor, I think, comes from the fact that, you know, we need to work hard to be a more professional industry across the board. So.
That's a perfect way to wrap this up. Again, thank you for coming on. And I know you're very busy, man. We, as we're doing this, if you notice Sam pushing his finger, he's using his phone and he's so busy. Folks are calling through and he's sending them the voicemail. He's probably got about 10 voicemails right now to cover as we wrap this up.
Yes, indeed. It doesn't stop ringing.
That's exactly what we see right now in the industry. We're just constantly growing. So. Excellent. Thanks again, Sam.
All right. Thank you, Brock. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us for episode 81 of the Driller Newscast. Check out thedriller.com. We have great content coming out every day. Our columnists are working hard. Our editor, Jeremy, is kicking butt. We're giving you relevant news and the information we need to be better professionals. Check out Drill Talk number 4, which is the second Drill Talk for Matrix, where we talk with Art, Aaron, and Chris, a bunch of great drilling industry experts and gurus talking tooling and all things great. Go out, read the Federal Register on the proposed rule change by OSHA for workaround with a compliance officer from OSHA. Get your public comments in, be informed, do the right thing. Cheers, everybody.